What if you could stay unshaken in any storm? This audiobook reveals the ancient monk secrets to mastering inner peace, even in total chaos. Discover how to silence stress, control your emotions, and unlock unbreakable calm. The world won't slow down, but you can rise above it. Introduction. Life today is a relentless storm, an ever-spinning wheel that refuses to stop turning. The moment your eyes open in the morning, the world rushes at you with full force. Notifications flooding your phone, emails stacking up like a never-ending to-do list, people needing your attention, problems demanding solutions. The days blur into a cycle of responsibilities, deadlines, and distractions, leaving you drained but never truly fulfilled. Even in rare quiet moments, your mind refuses to rest. Thoughts of work, relationships, finances, and what's next swirl endlessly, leaving you exhausted before the day has even begun. You might tell yourself, if I could just get a break, I'd feel better. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from escaping stress. It comes from learning how to master it. Imagine waking up and feeling an unshakable sense of calm before you even check your phone. Imagine handling a high-pressure situation without your heart racing or your mind spiraling into panic. Picture yourself in the middle of chaos, with everything going wrong, yet feeling as steady as a mountain, completely grounded, unshaken, and in control. This isn't a fantasy. This is what monks have mastered for centuries, and it is absolutely possible for you too. True calm is not about avoiding problems or living in isolation. It's about developing the mental and emotional strength to remain centered no matter what's happening around you. It's about cultivating a deep inner peace so powerful that nothing, no external pressure, no crisis, no negativity can take it away from you. But let's be clear, this isn't about running off to a monastery or spending hours meditating on a mountaintop. It's about reprogramming the way you react to life, training your mind to remain steady even in the face of uncertainty. It's about learning to shift from reacting to life to responding to it with wisdom and composure. Most people live in a constant state of stress, feeling like life is happening to them. But what if you could flip the script? What if, instead of being thrown around by circumstances, you became the calm center in the middle of life's storms? That is the power of mastering your mind, and that's exactly what you'll learn in this book. Why staying calm matters in today's world. At some point, stress became the default setting of modern life. We wear it like a badge of honor, as if being constantly overwhelmed proves we're working hard or doing something meaningful. But stress is not a sign of success. It's a slow, silent killer. It steals your energy, clouds your judgment, weakens your body, and suffocates your happiness. You don't just feel stress emotionally. It physically alters your body, raising your blood pressure, damaging your immune system, and even rewiring your brain to be more anxious by default. The more stress you allow to control you, the easier it becomes for anxiety, frustration, and exhaustion to take over. And the scariest part? Stress spreads like wildfire. When you're overwhelmed, it affects the people around you. Your partner, your children, your coworkers, your friends. It changes the way you speak, the way you handle challenges, and the way you experience life itself. Have you ever noticed how being around a stressed person makes you feel tense, even if you weren't anxious before? That's because emotions, especially stress, are contagious. But here's the good news. So is calmness. The more you train yourself to remain composed, the more you influence those around you to do the same. Imagine becoming the person who brings a sense of peace wherever they go, the one people turn to for guidance, the one whose presence alone makes others feel more grounded. That is the power of mastering inner calm. And let's not sugarcoat this. The world isn't slowing down. If you're waiting for the day when life magically becomes easier, where problems disappear and stress fades away, you'll be waiting forever. There will always be challenges, unexpected setbacks, and moments that test your patience. But what if, instead of hoping for an easier life, you built the mental and emotional strength to thrive no matter what came your way? That is what monks have mastered, and that is what you will learn. Understanding the monk mindset. Monks don't have fewer problems than the rest of us. They don't live in a world free of frustration, temptation, or disappointment. They experience the same emotions as everyone else: anger, sadness, impatience, fear. But the difference is, they don't let these emotions control them. They have trained their minds to observe their thoughts rather than be consumed by them. They have learned how to create space between stimulus and response, to detach from the chaos of the world without disconnecting from reality. And most importantly, they have mastered the art of finding peace within themselves rather than relying on external circumstances. The biggest mistake people make is believing, "I'll be calm when life finally slows down." But life does not slow down. There will always be something: a new challenge, a new problem, a new source of stress. If your peace depends on everything going smoothly, you will spend your entire life chasing an illusion. True peace is not about waiting for the world to become easier. It's about becoming stronger, wiser, and more composed, no matter what is happening around you. What you'll learn in this book. This book isn't about vague ideas or unrealistic advice. It's about practical, real-world strategies that you can start applying immediately to transform the way you handle stress, anxiety, and pressure. Each chapter will give you powerful techniques, mindset shifts, and daily habits that will help you create an unshakable sense of calm. Here's just a glimpse of what you'll discover: how to break free from overthinking and quiet your restless mind. The powerful habit that monks use to stay centered in any situation. How to instantly regain control when stress starts to take over. The hidden reason most people stay anxious. And how to break the cycle. How to remain calm under pressure, no matter how intense the situation. Monk techniques for handling conflict with wisdom and composure. How to maintain inner peace even when everything around you is in chaos. This isn't just about reducing stress. It's about creating a completely new way of living where peace becomes your default state. By the end of this book, you won't just know how to stay calm. You will have reprogrammed your mind to naturally remain composed, clear-headed, and unshaken no matter what life throws at you. Your journey starts now. Right now, you have a choice. You can continue living the way you always have, letting stress, frustration, and external chaos dictate how you feel. Or you can take control. You can train your mind to remain still even when the world around you is spinning. You can choose to become the kind of person who responds to life with wisdom instead of reacting with stress. The fact that you're here reading this means you're ready to step into a new way of thinking, a way of living where you are in charge of your emotions, not the other way around. This is your moment. Your journey to unshakable inner peace begins now. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The unseen storm we live in. Imagine waking up to the sound of your alarm. Before your mind can even register the day ahead, your fingers instinctively reach for your phone. Within seconds, you're scrolling through a flood of notifications, news alerts about yet another crisis, unread emails waiting for your response, messages piling up from family, friends, and colleagues. Before you've even stepped out of bed, your mind is already in a state of hyperactivity, reacting to information instead of absorbing the stillness of a new day. You take a deep breath, but even that feels rushed because you're already thinking about everything you need to do. Your heart rate speeds up slightly, anxiety trickling into your bloodstream before your feet even touch the ground. Sound familiar? This is the modern world, fast, relentless, and often overwhelming. We live in an era of constant connectivity where the world's problems are broadcasted into our hands, and personal responsibilities never seem to pause. The pressure to keep up is immense, and whether we realize it or not, we're caught in an invisible storm, one that doesn't manifest in the form of thunder and rain, but in the form of mental exhaustion, emotional instability, and chronic stress. Somewhere along the way, we began to mistake speed for success. The more we rush, the more accomplished we feel. The busier we are, the more important we seem. We measure our worth by how much we do, and the idea of stillness, of slowing down, feels almost foreign, maybe even wrong. If we aren't constantly moving, we feel like we're falling behind. If we don't respond to messages immediately, we fear missing out. If we take a moment to simply be, guilt seeps in, whispering, "You should be doing something productive right now." But here's the truth that no one tells you. This cycle is breaking you. You may not see it clearly yet, but it's there, in the way you struggle to fall asleep at night because your mind refuses to shut off, in the way you feel irritable over the smallest inconveniences, in the way you seek distractions, endless scrolling, binge watching, impulsive online shopping, anything to escape the ever-growing weight on your shoulders, in the way your body carries the tension of your unprocessed stress, tight shoulders, frequent headaches, unexplained fatigue. You are not alone in this. We are all in some way caught in the same chaotic current. But here's the good news. There is a way out, and it doesn't require you to abandon your responsibilities, escape to a remote monastery, or meditate for hours on end. It begins with understanding the nature of the chaos that surrounds us, where it comes from, why it affects us so deeply, and most importantly, how to navigate through it without letting it consume us. So, let's begin. Let's dissect this chaos piece by piece, because only when we understand the storm can we learn to remain calm in the middle of it. The overwhelming speed of life. Why everything feels rushed. Have you ever felt like time is slipping through your fingers? Like the days blur together, weeks feel like they last mere moments, and months disappear before you even realize they've begun? You're not imagining it. The world has undeniably sped up. Our routines, our work, our expectations, everything is moving at an accelerated pace. A few generations ago, life was naturally slower. People rose with the sun and slept when it set. Work had a definitive start and end. Conversations were deliberate. Written letters took days to arrive, and patience was a built-in necessity. But today, everything is instant. We wake up to a flood of information. We communicate in rapid-fire texts. We expect same-day delivery, and we demand immediate responses. The result? Our nervous system is in a constant state of alert, processing more than it was ever designed to handle. We weren't meant to live this fast, and yet, we do. We rush through meals, multitask our way through conversations, and even treat relaxation as another thing to check off the list. When was the last time you did nothing, truly nothing, without feeling guilty about it? This relentless pace tricks our brains into thinking that speed equals efficiency. But in reality, it leads to burnout, chronic stress, and a persistent sense of dissatisfaction. We move so quickly from one task to another that we never stop long enough to feel fulfilled. The faster we go, the more we chase the illusion that peace exists somewhere in the next achievement, the next purchase, the next break. But peace isn't found in movement. It's found in learning how to pause. Technology and constant distractions, how digital overload affects our inner peace. Let's talk about something we all struggle with, our relationship with technology. We are living in an age of unparalleled convenience. Everything we could possibly need is just a tap away. Need groceries? Order them online? Want entertainment? Stream an endless selection of movies. Feel bored? Open an app and scroll through an infinite feed of curated content. But with this convenience comes a hidden cost, our attention is under siege. The average person checks their phone over 150 times a day. Think about that. 150 interruptions, each pulling you away from whatever you were doing, splitting your focus, and fracturing your ability to stay present. The moment you get a notification, your brain releases a small hit of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter involved in addiction. This creates a feedback loop where we seek out distractions, not out of necessity, but out of habit. The result? A mind that is constantly overstimulated but never truly satisfied. We struggle to focus for long periods. Our attention span has shrunk dramatically. We feel restless when we don't have a screen in front of us. And worst of all, we've forgotten how to be alone with our thoughts. Monks, on the other hand, are masters of attention. They train their minds to focus deeply on the present moment, undistracted by the endless noise of the world. But they aren't born this way. It's a skill they develop through discipline, practice, and intentional habits. And the good news, you can train your mind too. Imagine what your life would feel like if you weren't constantly reacting to every notification, every email, every distraction pulling you in a million directions. Imagine being able to sit in stillness without feeling the urge to check your phone. Imagine the freedom that comes from being fully present in every moment. This is possible. And in the coming chapters, I'll show you exactly how to take back control of your attention, reclaim your focus, and create a life that feels calm, even in the middle of chaos. But first, we must continue understanding the different forces that contribute to our inner unrest. Because before we can fix a problem, we must see it clearly for what it is. Chapter 2. The Emotional Turmoil Society Inflicts on Us, the Silent Weight. We carry step into any space filled with people, whether it's a crowded cafe, a bustling office, or even a family gathering, and you'll notice something strange in the air, an unspoken tension, a shared anxiety that nobody openly acknowledges, yet everyone seems to carry. You can sense it in the hurried way people walk, in the distracted way they respond to conversations while their minds are elsewhere, in the constant checking of phones as if waiting for something urgent, even when nothing truly pressing is happening. It is as if the world has collectively forgotten how to simply exist, as if we are all waiting for an invisible burden to be lifted, yet no one can quite identify what that burden is. This silent weight is not just in your imagination. It is real, and it is the product of a society that thrives on emotional turmoil. We live in a world that feeds on stress, pressure, and competition, where expectations are woven so deeply into our existence that we no longer question them. We simply accept them, internalize them, and allow them to shape our reality, often at the cost of our peace. We are expected to be productive, successful, social, attractive, intelligent, emotionally resilient, and effortlessly happy, all at the same time. And when we inevitably fall short of these impossible standards, we feel as though something is wrong with us, rather than questioning whether the expectations themselves are the problem. But what if the way we are living, constantly rushing, constantly striving, constantly feeling like we are behind, is not a personal failure, but a systemic issue? What if peace is not something that exists in a distant future, after we have achieved enough, but something that has been within us all along, simply buried under the noise of the world? Before we can reclaim our sense of calm, we must first recognize how deeply society's patterns have influenced our minds. Because only when we become aware of the forces that steal our peace can we begin to take it back. The unrelenting expectations that keep you in a state of unease. From the time we are children, we are conditioned to seek validation from external sources. We learn that our worth is tied to our performance, to our achievements, to how well we meet the expectations that others have set for us. In school, we are praised not for our curiosity, but for our grades. In adulthood, we are measured not by our sense of fulfillment, but by our professional success. Even in relationships, there is an underlying pressure to appear as though we have it all together, to be strong, capable, emotionally balanced, and endlessly giving, even when we feel exhausted inside. This constant evaluation creates a dangerous cycle. When we succeed, we feel momentary relief, a brief high that reassures us we are doing well, but it never lasts. Because the moment we achieve one goal, another appears. The bar keeps rising, the finish line keeps moving, and before we can even enjoy the satisfaction of accomplishment, we are already worrying about what comes next. We live in a world that does not allow us to rest, because rest is seen as laziness, as falling behind, as something that must be earned rather than a natural and necessary part of life. But here's the truth that no one tells you. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how productive you are, no matter how perfectly you meet expectations, it will never be enough. Because the problem is not you. The problem is the system itself. A society that conditions people to seek happiness externally, ensuring that they are always chasing, always striving, always feeling just slightly inadequate. But peace does not come from chasing. It comes from stepping back and questioning the chase itself. What if, instead of constantly striving to prove yourself, you gave yourself permission to simply be? What if your worth was not something you had to earn, but something that was already within you, unchangeable and unconditional? This is the mindset shift that monks cultivate, a deep understanding that true peace comes not from external achievement, but from internal acceptance. And the moment you stop seeking validation from the outside world is the moment you begin to reclaim control over your inner state. The hidden toll of absorbing negativity from the world? Have you ever noticed how, after watching a series of bad news reports, you feel tense, drained, or even slightly hopeless, even if none of the events directly impact your life? Or how, after spending time with people who constantly complain, criticize, or dwell on problems, your own mood starts to shift toward negativity even if you were feeling fine before? This is because energy, whether positive or negative, is contagious. And in a world where we are constantly exposed to distressing information, we often absorb much more than we realize. The modern era has made it easier than ever to stay informed, but it has also blurred the line between awareness and emotional overload. We are exposed to a near-constant stream of crises, tragedies, and global conflicts, often in real time, with no room to process one event before another emerges. And while staying informed is important, the human brain was never designed to carry the weight of the entire world's suffering all at once. In ancient times, a person's worries were largely limited to their immediate environment, their village, their community, their direct experiences. But today, we are burdened not only by our own struggles, but by the collective anxieties of millions of people, funneled into our minds through endless notifications and news cycles. This overconsumption of negativity puts our nervous system in a near-constant state of stress. Even if we are physically safe, our minds react as if we are in danger, leading to chronic tension, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. And the worst part? Most of us do not even realize it is happening. We scroll through distressing headlines without questioning how they affect us. We engage in discussions filled with fear and frustration, not recognizing that we are carrying that energy into the rest of our day. Monks, on the other hand, are extremely mindful of what they allow into their mental space. This does not mean they are ignorant of the world's problems. It means they choose their focus intentionally. They understand that in order to be a source of peace in the world, they must first cultivate peace within themselves. And this is something we can all learn from. Protecting your inner state is not selfish, it is necessary. Because when your mind is constantly flooded with stress, you are not in a position to help yourself or anyone else. True awareness comes not from absorbing endless negativity, but from choosing where to direct your attention and energy. Ask yourself, how much of what I consume daily news, social media, conversations, is genuinely adding value to my life, and how much of it is simply keeping me in a state of stress and fear. Becoming conscious of what you expose your mind to is one of the most powerful steps toward reclaiming your peace. Releasing the illusion of falling behind. One of the greatest sources of emotional turmoil in modern society is the pervasive feeling of being behind. The belief that we should be further ahead in life, that we should have accomplished more by now, that others are progressing faster while we are somehow stuck. But behind whom? Compared to what? The truth is, there is no universal timeline for life, yet we act as though there is, constantly comparing our journey to others, measuring our progress against arbitrary standards, and feeling inadequate as a result. But monks do not compare. They understand that life is not a race, but an individual path, and that each person's journey unfolds in its own unique timing. The moment you stop measuring yourself against others and start honoring your own rhythm is the moment you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And in the next part, we will dive deeper into how to rewire your mind for lasting inner peace, even in the middle of chaos. Chapter 3. The Cost of an Unsettled Mind. How inner chaos affects every area of your life. Imagine waking up to the sound of an alarm, your heart racing before you've even left the bed. Your mind immediately floods with thoughts. What needs to be done? What you didn't accomplish yesterday? What problems might arise today? You reach for your phone, scanning notifications, checking messages, absorbing news updates. Before you've even taken your first deep breath of the morning, you are already in a state of tension, your mind cluttered with worries, comparisons, and expectations. Now imagine waking up in complete stillness. No rush, no frantic thoughts, no immediate obligations pulling you in different directions. You take a deep breath, feeling the air fill your lungs. Your mind is calm, focused only on the present moment. You feel at ease, steady, unshaken. These two experiences may seem like polar opposites, but they represent the stark contrast between an unsettled mind and one that has been trained in stillness. And for most people, the first scenario is the reality they live in every single day. An unsettled mind is like a turbulent sea, constantly moving, restless, easily thrown into waves of worry and distraction. It affects the way you think, the way you feel, the way you interact with the world. It clouds your decisions, drains your energy, and keeps you in a state of mental exhaustion, often without you even realizing it. And the worst part? Most people accept this as normal. But what if the chaos in your mind is not just something you have to live with, but something you can learn to master? Let's take a deeper look at how an untrained, restless mind is impacting every aspect of your life, and why reclaiming your inner stillness is one of the most powerful transformations you can make. The mental noise that steals your peace, why you can't seem to slow down. One of the greatest struggles of modern life is the inability to slow down. Even when we are physically still, our minds are constantly racing, planning, analyzing, replaying past conversations, predicting future scenarios, worrying about things that may never happen. This relentless mental activity creates a baseline of stress that never fully goes away, leaving us feeling chronically overwhelmed. The human brain is wired for survival, constantly scanning for potential threats. But in today's world, our threats are not wild animals or physical dangers. They are deadlines, social pressures, financial concerns, relationship struggles, and an endless stream of information demanding our attention. Because of this, our minds remain in a state of overactivity, always searching for the next problem to solve, the next thing to worry about, the next unfinished task. But here's the key realization. Not every thought deserves your energy. Not every worry needs your attention. not every mental spiral has to be entertained. Monks train their minds in stillness because they understand that a restless mind is a suffering mind. When you are constantly engaged in mental noise, you are never truly present. You are always somewhere else, in the past, in the future, in a cycle of overthinking. This robs you of your ability to experience peace in the only moment that truly exists, right now. The ability to quiet your thoughts is not something reserved for monks or spiritual masters. It is a skill that anyone can develop with practice. And the first step is recognizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. Once you learn how to create distance between yourself and your mental chatter, you begin to regain control over your inner world. How an unsettled mind affects your decisions, the hidden cost of overthinking. When your mind is cluttered with stress, doubts, and distractions, your ability to make clear decisions becomes compromised. Think about the last time you had to make an important choice. Did your mind calmly evaluate the options? Or did it spiral into endless possibilities, making you feel stuck, uncertain, and drained? Overthinking is one of the greatest thieves of energy. It creates paralysis by analysis, keeping you trapped in a loop of questioning, second-guessing, and delaying action. And the more you engage with these thoughts, the more they grow, making even simple decisions feel overwhelming. Monks avoid this mental exhaustion by practicing detachment from unnecessary thoughts. They understand that not all thoughts are useful, and that clarity comes not from thinking more, but from thinking less. When the mind is quiet, decisions become clearer. The right path is no longer buried under layers of doubt. It reveals itself naturally. If you find yourself constantly overthinking, ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it keeping me stuck? Do I need to keep analyzing this, or can I let it go? What would happen if I trusted myself more and worried less? Your mind is a powerful tool, but only if you learn to use it wisely, rather than letting it use you. The emotional toll of an unsettled mind, why you feel drained, even when you haven't done much. Have you ever had a day where, even though you didn't do much physically, you still felt completely exhausted? This is because mental energy is just as real as physical energy. When your mind is in a constant state of tension, worry, and reactivity, it drains your energy reserves, leaving you feeling depleted before the day is even halfway over. This is why monks seem to have an unshakable calmness about them. Their energy is not wasted on unnecessary worries or distractions. They protect their inner peace as fiercely as others protect their wealth, because they understand that a peaceful mind is the greatest form of abundance. If you constantly feel drained, it's time to look at where your mental energy is going. Are you investing it in things that truly matter, or are you losing it to endless worry, frustration, and comparison? Energy management is not just about physical rest. It is about mental discipline. And the more you learn to conserve your mental energy, the more alive, present, and clear-headed you will feel. Reclaiming your inner stillness, the first step toward a calm mind. If there is one truth to take away from this part, let it be this: an unsettled mind does not lead to a fulfilled life. It leads to exhaustion, stress, impulsive decisions, and emotional instability. It keeps you reactive rather than intentional, scattered rather than focused, drained rather than empowered. But the good news? You can retrain your mind. You do not have to be a prisoner to your thoughts, emotions, or external chaos. You can cultivate stillness, clarity, and inner strength, even in the middle of the most challenging circumstances. Chapter 4. Training your mind like a monk. How to stop reacting and start mastering your inner world. When most people think of a peaceful monk, they imagine someone sitting quietly in meditation, undisturbed by the world around them. But what they fail to realize is that this stillness is not simply a matter of personality or circumstance. It is the result of rigorous mental training. A monk does not wake up one morning and suddenly stop reacting to stress, anger, or fear. Instead, they deliberately reshape the way their mind operates, strengthening their ability to remain centered no matter what chaos surrounds them. The good news is that this type of mental training is not exclusive to monks. You do not need to live in a monastery or remove yourself from society to cultivate the same level of inner mastery. You can learn to train your mind exactly where you are, in the midst of your daily responsibilities, challenges, and obligations. And the first step is understanding one simple truth. Your reactions are not automatic. They are conditioned. Most people go through life believing that their emotions control them. They assume that stress, anger, and anxiety are inevitable responses to difficult situations, that they have no choice but to react impulsively when something upsets them. But monks understand that reaction is not a necessity. It is a habit. And like any habit, it can be changed. The way you currently react to situations is not a reflection of who you truly are. It is the result of years of mental conditioning. If you tend to get irritated easily, it is not because you were born that way, but because your mind has learned to associate certain triggers with frustration. If you tend to overthink, it is not because your brain is defective, but because you have spent years reinforcing the habit of analyzing everything to exhaustion. But just as your mind has been trained into these patterns, it can be trained out of them. Imagine if, instead of reacting with stress, frustration, or fear, your default response to challenges was calm observation. Imagine if, instead of letting external events dictate your mood, you remained steady, grounded, and unshaken. This level of mastery is not just possible, it is inevitable for anyone who commits to retraining their mind. The question is, are you ready to take control of your inner world? How your mind becomes reactive. The science behind your emotional triggers. To truly understand how to stop reacting, you must first understand why you react in the first place. Every time you face a situation, your brain processes it in two different ways, logically and emotionally. The logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, evaluates information rationally. It analyzes a situation, weighs the options, and makes deliberate choices. This is the part of your brain that thinks before it acts, that helps you stay calm under pressure, that allows you to respond rather than react. The emotional part of your brain, the amygdala, is much faster and more impulsive. It is responsible for processing fear, anger, and stress, triggering your fight or flight response whenever it perceives a threat. The problem is that, in modern life, the amygdala does not just react to physical danger. It reacts to emails, social media comments, unexpected bills, and frustrating conversations. It treats all stress as an emergency, flooding your body with adrenaline and cortisol, keeping you in a state of constant reactivity. This is why certain situations trigger an immediate emotional response before you even have time to think. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and you feel an instant surge of anger. You receive criticism at work, and your stomach knots up with anxiety. These reactions are not conscious choices. They are automatic programs that your brain has reinforced over time. But monks train their minds differently. They deliberately create space between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting impulsively, they observe their emotions as they arise, allowing their logical brain to take control before the amygdala can hijack their behavior. This ability to pause, to step back, to witness rather than react, is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. And it all starts with one simple practice: awareness. Building awareness. The first step to breaking free from reactivity. Before you can change a habit, you must first become aware of it. The problem is, most people go through life completely unconscious of their mental patterns. They react to situations without questioning why. They feel anger, stress, or fear without investigating where these emotions come from. They assume that their thoughts and emotions are simply happening to them, rather than realizing that they are the creators of their own mental experience. The first step to mastering your mind is to become a silent observer of your own thoughts and emotions. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a step back and simply watch your mind in action. When something triggers you, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Where is this reaction coming from? Is this emotion helping me, or is it controlling me? At first, this practice may seem unnatural. Your mind will still react automatically, and you may still feel the pull of your usual emotional patterns. But with time, something incredible will happen. You will start to notice a gap between you and your emotions. Instead of being lost in anger, you will recognize, anger is arising. Instead of drowning in anxiety, you will observe, this is what anxiety feels like. And in that moment of observation, you will regain control. Awareness is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. And once you develop the ability to witness your emotions without being consumed by them, you will begin to experience a level of inner freedom that few people ever achieve. Detaching from external chaos. The art of remaining calm in any situation. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to maintain inner peace is because they allow external circumstances to dictate their internal state. If things are going well, they feel happy. If something goes wrong, they feel stressed. If people treat them kindly, they feel confident. If someone criticizes them, they feel insecure. But monks do not live this way. Their peace is not dependent on circumstances because they have detached their sense of self from the external world. They do not rely on situations, achievements, or opinions for their happiness. Instead, they cultivate an internal stability that remains untouched by outside forces. The key to this stability is understanding that you are not your experiences. You are the observer of them. Just as the sky is unaffected by the storms that pass through it, your true self remains untouched by the temporary ups and downs of life. The more you anchor yourself in this awareness, the less power the external world will have over you. This does not mean you become emotionless or indifferent. It simply means that you stop allowing outside events to control your inner world. Whether things go right or wrong, whether people praise or criticize you, whether life unfolds smoothly or unexpectedly, you remain steady, unshaken, at peace. And that, ultimately, is the greatest form of power. Your next step, the path to mental mastery. The ability to remain calm in the midst of chaos is not something you are born with. It is something you train. And now you have taken the first step toward reclaiming control over your mind. Chapter 5. The Mind of a Monk. Step-by-step techniques to master your thoughts and emotions. There is a reason monks appear to move through life with an unshakable sense of peace. It is not because they live in perfect conditions or are immune to the challenges of existence. Rather, it is because they have trained their minds to respond differently, to observe instead of react, to remain calm instead of becoming overwhelmed, to see with clarity rather than allowing emotions to cloud their judgment. But what most people fail to realize is that this mental discipline is not exclusive to monks. You do not need to live in a monastery or isolate yourself from the world to cultivate the same level of control over your thoughts and emotions. These techniques are available to anyone willing to practice them, and the results are nothing short of transformative. If you have ever felt trapped by overthinking, if your emotions often dictate the course of your day, or if stress and anxiety seem to control you more than you control them, know this: your mind is trainable. You do not have to be a victim of your impulses. You do not have to live at the mercy of circumstances, and you certainly do not have to remain stuck in negative thought patterns simply because they have been a part of your life for so long. Just as the body can be strengthened through exercise, the mind can be disciplined through deliberate training, allowing you to break free from mental chaos and cultivate an inner stability that remains untouched by external events. But what does this training look like? How do monks rewire their minds for peace, resilience, and clarity? What are the step-by-step techniques they use to master their thoughts and emotions? The answers lie in specific practical methods that you can integrate into your daily life. These are not vague ideas or abstract philosophies. They are clear, actionable strategies that will help you break free from reactivity, develop emotional stability, and cultivate an unshakable mindset, no matter what life throws your way. Step 1. Creating space between stimulus and response. The power of the pause. One of the primary reasons people struggle with inner peace is because they live in a constant state of reaction. They allow external events to dictate their emotions, responding instantly to whatever happens around them. A stressful email sparks immediate frustration. A rude comment online leads to anger. An unexpected change in plans creates anxiety. Without realizing it, they become prisoners of impulse-driven behavior, their emotions shifting unpredictably based on circumstances outside their control. Monks approach life differently. They have trained themselves to create space between stimulus and response, a small but powerful pause that allows them to observe their emotions before acting on them. This pause is not passive avoidance. It is a conscious decision to take control rather than be controlled. Instead of reacting out of habit, they give themselves time to assess the situation with clarity, choosing their response rather than being dictated by fleeting emotions. The next time you feel an emotional trigger, a sudden rush of irritation, an impulse to argue, or a wave of stress, practice the pause. Instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath. Observe what is happening inside you. Recognize the impulse, but do not act on it. The simple act of pausing, even for just a few seconds, shifts control from the emotional part of your brain to the rational part. It interrupts automatic reactions, allowing you to respond with intention rather than impulse. This single practice can be life-changing. When applied consistently, it breaks the cycle of reactivity and puts you back in control of your mind. Instead of being easily shaken by external events, you begin to experience a deep, unshakable steadiness that stays with you no matter what the world throws your way. Step 2. Rewiring negative thought patterns, breaking free from mental loops. Your thoughts are not random. They follow patterns that have been reinforced over years of repetition. If you find yourself constantly worrying, dwelling on the past, or imagining worst-case scenarios, it is not because your mind is broken. It is because it has been conditioned to operate that way. Every time you engage in overthinking, your brain strengthens that habit, making it easier to fall into the same mental loops again and again. Monks train their minds to break free from this cycle by practicing thought observation and redirection. Instead of getting lost in negative thoughts, they learn to step back and observe them without attachment. When an anxious or self-critical thought arises, instead of engaging with it, they ask themselves, "Is this thought helping me or hurting me?" If the thought serves no productive purpose, they do not fight it or suppress it. They simply let it pass, like a cloud drifting across the sky. Try this for yourself. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, pause and observe your thoughts as if they belong to someone else. Ask yourself, is this thought useful? If it is not, consciously shift your focus. Redirect your mind towards something constructive, whether that is a solution, a positive perspective, or simply focusing on the present moment. With repetition, this practice rewires the brain, reducing negative thought loops and replacing them with clarity and resilience. Step 3. Using breath control to calm the mind instantly. Few people realize that their breath is the single most powerful tool they have for regulating their emotions in real time. The way you breathe directly influences your mental state. Shallow, rapid breathing fuels anxiety, while deep, controlled breathing instantly activates the relaxation response, calming both the body and mind. Monks practice conscious breathing techniques to maintain their composure in any situation. One of the most effective techniques is rhythmic breathing, where the breath is deliberately slowed and controlled. A simple yet powerful method you can try is 1. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. 2. Hold the breath for 4 seconds. 3. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. 4. Repeat this cycle 5 to 10 times. This pattern naturally lowers stress hormones, slows the heart rate, and shifts the nervous system into a state of calm alertness. The next time you feel overwhelmed, instead of letting stress control you, take charge of your breathing. Within minutes, you will feel a noticeable shift, a sense of clarity and steadiness returning, even in the midst of chaos. Step 4. Mastering detachment, becoming unshakable in any situation. One of the most profound shifts monks make in their thinking is the realization that external circumstances do not control their inner state, unless they allow them to. Most people go through life emotionally dependent on outside events. If things go well, they feel happy. If something goes wrong, they feel stressed. If people approve of them, they feel confident. If they face criticism, they feel insecure. This creates a life where inner peace is constantly at the mercy of the outside world. Monks cultivate detachment, not as a form of indifference, but as a way to maintain inner stability regardless of what happens around them. They remind themselves daily, I am not defined by circumstances. My peace is mine to protect. You can practice this by consciously choosing to detach your emotions from situations that do not serve you. When something disturbs you, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? If the answer is no, release it. Your peace is a choice. Protect it. The next level, deepening your mental mastery. These foundational techniques are just the beginning. In the next chapter, we will explore advanced training methods that monks use to rewire subconscious fears, deepen their focus, and cultivate lasting inner strength. This is where true transformation happens. Chapter 6. Deepening your mental mastery. Advanced monk techniques for unshakable peace. If you have followed along this far, you already understand that mental mastery is not something mystical or unattainable. It is a trainable skill. You now know that calmness is not about avoiding challenges, but about learning how to respond to them with clarity and resilience. You have practiced pausing before reacting, rewiring negative thought loops, and using breath control to instantly restore calmness when life tries to throw you off balance. You have also begun cultivating detachment, realizing that your emotional state does not have to be dictated by external events. But this is only the foundation. True inner mastery, the kind of unshakable peace that allows monks to remain calm in any situation, requires going even deeper. In this section, we will explore the advanced techniques that monks use to train their minds to be resilient, focused, and immune to chaos. These are not just mental tricks. They are profound, life-changing practices that will fundamentally shift the way you experience life. When applied consistently, these techniques will enable you to remain composed even in the middle of a storm, giving you the ability to navigate life with an unshakable sense of clarity and control. Step 1. The art of inner stillness, mastering the mind through silence. Most people are afraid of silence. They avoid it, filling every waking moment with noise, distractions, and stimulation. If they are not listening to something, they are scrolling through their phones. If they are not engaged in a conversation, they are watching videos or playing music in the background. This endless input creates a restless mind, one that is constantly seeking external stimulation to avoid being alone with itself. Monks, on the other hand, embrace silence as a powerful tool for deep mental clarity. They understand that the mind, like a muddy pond, only becomes clear when it is left undisturbed. The more you practice stillness, whether through meditation, quiet reflection, or simply taking moments of silence throughout your day, the more you allow your mind to settle, revealing a level of clarity and peace that is impossible to find in constant noise. To begin this practice, dedicate a few minutes each day to complete silence. Turn off all distractions. Sit in stillness. Observe your thoughts without engaging with them. If your mind is restless, simply allow it to be, without judgment. Over time, this practice will strengthen your ability to remain calm in any situation, as your mind becomes accustomed to stillness rather than being dependent on external distractions. Step 2. Training the mind to see reality clearly. Overcoming emotional distortion. One of the biggest obstacles to inner peace is emotional distortion. The tendency for the mind to exaggerate problems, assume the worst, or misinterpret situations based on fear or past experiences. This is why two people can go through the same event, but experience it completely differently. One person remains calm, while the other spirals into stress and anxiety. The difference is not in the event itself, but in how their minds perceive and interpret it. Monks train their minds to see reality as it is, not as their emotions distort it to be. They do this by questioning their own thoughts, refusing to blindly accept their initial reactions as truth. When faced with a stressful situation, instead of immediately believing their fear or frustration, they ask, "What is the reality of this situation beyond my emotions? Am I seeing this clearly? Or am I reacting based on fear, assumptions, or past experiences? If I were completely calm, how would I interpret this situation differently?" This simple practice can be life-changing. The next time you feel overwhelmed by a problem, pause and question your perception. Are you seeing reality clearly, or are your emotions distorting your perspective? More often than not, you will realize that your stress is coming not from the situation itself, but from the way your mind is interpreting it. By shifting your perspective, you regain control over your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Step 3. Mental resilience through voluntary discomfort, training yourself to be unshakable. Most people seek comfort and ease in every aspect of life. They avoid discomfort, whether physical or emotional, and surround themselves with conveniences that make life as effortless as possible. But this pursuit of comfort comes at a cost. It creates a mind that is fragile and easily shaken. When people never train themselves to handle discomfort, even small challenges feel overwhelming, and their ability to remain calm in difficult situations becomes weak. Monks, however, deliberately expose themselves to discomfort to build mental resilience. They practice fasting to develop self-discipline, endure cold or heat to train their ability to remain composed under stress, and engage in long periods of silent meditation to strengthen their patience and focus. These practices are not about suffering. They are about training the mind to remain calm and unshaken in any situation. You can apply this principle in your own life by gradually embracing small discomforts. Try taking a cold shower, fasting for a few hours, or just sitting in silence without checking your phone. These small acts of voluntary discomfort train your mind to be stronger, more patient, and less reactive. Over time, you will find that challenges that once felt overwhelming now seem insignificant because your mind has been conditioned to handle them with ease. Step 4. Practicing detachment from identity, freeing yourself from ego-based stress. Much of human suffering comes from attachment to identity, the belief that we must constantly prove ourselves, protect our reputation, or live up to certain expectations. This attachment makes people defensive, anxious, and easily hurt when their identity is challenged. A small criticism feels like an attack. A failure feels like a loss of worth. Even minor setbacks trigger deep frustration because the ego feels threatened. Monks free themselves from this stress by detaching from identity. They do not see themselves as their achievements, opinions, or reputation. They understand that their worth is not based on external validation, but on inner peace and clarity. This detachment makes them immune to criticism, failure, or judgment because they no longer derive their self-worth from these things. You can practice this by reminding yourself daily, I am not my thoughts, my achievements, or my reputation. My peace does not depend on what others think of me. The less you attach your identity to external things, the less stress and anxiety you will experience. Instead of constantly trying to prove yourself, you can simply be. And that is the ultimate freedom. The next level, mastering the subconscious mind. These techniques will already place you ahead of most people when it comes to mental mastery. But there is still a deeper level to explore. In the next section, we will dive into the subconscious mind, how to rewire deep-rooted fears, break lifelong negative patterns, and cultivate a level of calm that remains untouched by external events. This is where true transformation happens. Stay with me. The journey is only getting more powerful. Chapter 7. Rewiring the subconscious mind, breaking deep-seated mental patterns for lasting peace. The human mind is a battlefield, a place where the deepest struggles take place long before they manifest in the outside world. If you have ever found yourself overwhelmed by stress, trapped in repetitive emotional reactions, or caught in cycles of anxiety and frustration, despite your best efforts to remain calm, you are not alone. These patterns are not simply personality traits or unavoidable aspects of life. They are deep-seated mental programs that have been installed in your subconscious mind over the years, often without your awareness. The truth is, the way you react to challenges, the things that trigger your frustration, and the anxieties that keep you up at night are largely the result of programming that has accumulated from past experiences, upbringing, and societal influences. The good news is that this programming is not permanent. It can be rewritten. Monks have understood for centuries what modern neuroscience has now confirmed. The brain is not fixed. It is adaptable. Your subconscious mind, which governs more than 90% of your daily thoughts and actions, is not an immovable force, but a system that can be retrained and rewired. This means that if you have spent years reacting with stress, fear, or frustration, you are not doomed to stay that way forever. You have the ability to reprogram your mind so that calmness becomes your natural default state. Instead of struggling against anxiety or reactivity, you can train your subconscious to automatically respond to challenges with clarity, patience, and resilience. This process of rewiring the subconscious mind does not happen overnight. It requires deliberate practice, but the rewards are profound. Imagine facing a stressful situation that would have once sent you into a spiral of anxiety, only to find yourself feeling composed, centered, and in control. Imagine experiencing moments of frustration, but recovering almost instantly because your mind has been trained to let go of negativity effortlessly. This is not wishful thinking. It is the result of applying powerful, time-tested techniques that monks have used for generations to cultivate unshakable inner peace. Step 1. Identifying and breaking your mental triggers. Before you can reprogram your subconscious, you must first understand what is currently running your mind. The human brain operates largely on autopilot, following ingrained patterns without conscious awareness. This is why many people find themselves reacting in the same ways repeatedly, becoming irritated in similar situations, feeling anxious about the same kinds of problems, or overthinking in moments where they wish they could just let go. These reactions are not conscious choices. They are automatic responses shaped by past conditioning. To begin the process of rewiring, you must identify your personal triggers. Triggers are the situations, people, or thoughts that activate negative emotions within you, often without you realizing it. Take a moment to reflect on the patterns of emotional reactivity in your life. When do you feel the most stressed? What kinds of situations provoke frustration or overwhelm? What thoughts frequently play in your mind when you are struggling emotionally? Write them down. This simple act of externalizing your thoughts is powerful because it forces your subconscious programming into conscious awareness, where it can be examined and reshaped. Once you have identified these triggers, ask yourself, are these reactions truly my own? Or are they learned responses from past experiences? Many of the stress patterns that dominate people's lives are not actually their own, but inherited from childhood influences, societal pressures, or repeated exposure to certain ways of thinking. Recognizing this truth is the first step in regaining control over your mind. Step 2. Replacing old mental patterns with new ones. Identifying triggers is not enough. You must actively replace old reactions with new, empowering ones. This is where mental conditioning comes into play. Monks use a technique known as mental redirection, a practice of consciously choosing a new response in moments where old patterns try to take over. Each time you feel an automatic emotional reaction begin to surface, pause and ask yourself, what response would bring me peace in this moment? What is a wiser, calmer way to approach this situation? By making this conscious choice repeatedly, you begin rewiring your subconscious to associate stress triggers with calmness instead of emotional turmoil. For example, if frustration is your default reaction to setbacks, begin training yourself to replace it with curiosity, asking, what can I learn from this? If worry is your automatic response to uncertainty, replace it with trust, affirming, I do not need to control everything. I will handle whatever comes. With repetition, these new responses become ingrained, transforming your mental landscape from one of stress and reactivity to one of stability and clarity. Step 3. The power of visualization, reprogramming your subconscious through mental imagery. One of the most effective ways to rewire the mind is through visualization. Neuroscientific research has confirmed that the brain does not distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones. This means that by consistently visualizing yourself responding with calmness in stressful situations, you can train your subconscious to make calmness your natural response. To apply this technique, close your eyes and mentally place yourself in a situation that typically triggers stress or frustration. Instead of reacting as you normally would, imagine yourself handling it with absolute calm. Picture yourself breathing deeply, feeling grounded and unshaken. See yourself responding with wisdom, patience, and control. As you do this, focus on the feeling of inner peace and confidence that comes with it. By practicing this visualization daily, your subconscious begins accepting it as your new reality, and over time, you will find that your real-life reactions begin aligning with the calmness you have mentally rehearsed. Step 4. Letting go of the illusion of control. At the root of stress and anxiety lies one fundamental issue: the need for control. Most people experience emotional turbulence because they are constantly trying to control things that are beyond their power, whether it is the opinions of others, the outcomes of uncertain situations, or the course of life itself. This need for control creates resistance, and resistance is what fuels stress. Monks have mastered the art of peace by embracing a simple truth. Not everything is meant to be controlled, and that is okay. They practice detachment, understanding that peace comes not from controlling every aspect of life, but from being able to flow with whatever happens. This does not mean becoming passive. It means recognizing that you do not have to force life to unfold a certain way in order to be happy. To cultivate this mindset, practice reminding yourself daily, I do not need to control everything to be at peace. When challenges arise, instead of resisting them, practice acceptance. Ask yourself, how can I adapt to this situation instead of fighting against it? By shifting your focus from control to adaptability, you free yourself from the unnecessary suffering that comes from resisting reality. The next phase, mastering emotional transmutation. Rewiring the subconscious is a powerful step toward lasting peace, but there is still a deeper level to explore. In the next section, we will dive into emotional transmutation, how to transform negative emotions into sources of strength, clarity, and resilience. This is where true mastery begins, as you learn not only to manage emotions, but to use them as tools for personal transformation. Stay with me. The journey is about to become even more powerful. Chapter 8. The Alchemy of Emotion. Transforming negative feelings into inner strength. If there is one thing every human being experiences, regardless of background, beliefs, or personal discipline, it is the presence of emotions. Some emotions uplift us, joy, excitement, love, while others seem to drag us down, anger, fear, frustration, anxiety. For most people, the negative emotions feel like an enemy, an internal battle that must be fought every day. The natural instinct when experiencing emotions such as anger or sadness is either to suppress them, hoping they will disappear, or to let them take over completely, losing control in the process. But monks understand a different truth. Emotions, even the most difficult ones, are not meant to be suppressed or feared. They are meant to be transmuted, transformed into sources of power, clarity, and inner strength. In the modern world, where stressors seem to be everywhere, learning the art of emotional transmutation is essential. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by worry, trapped in cycles of anger, or exhausted by constant frustration, it is not because you are weak or incapable of peace. It is because you have not yet been taught how to redirect the energy of those emotions into something constructive. Imagine for a moment what would happen if, instead of being drained by anger, you could use it as fuel for self-mastery. What if, instead of drowning in sadness, you could channel it into a deeper understanding of yourself and others? This is not just a theoretical possibility. It is a trainable skill. Emotions are energy. Every feeling that arises in you carries a specific vibrational force, and what you do with that energy determines your state of mind. Negative emotions feel heavy, not because they are inherently bad, but because they are raw, unprocessed energy that needs direction. When monks experience strong emotions, they do not fight them. Instead, they sit with them, observe them, and redirect their energy towards something constructive. This is the practice of emotional transmutation, and it is one of the most powerful tools you can learn to achieve lasting peace. Step 1. Seeing emotions as energy, not identity. The first step in emotional transmutation is changing the way you see emotions. Most people make the mistake of identifying with their emotions. They say, "I am angry," or "I am anxious," as if these emotions define them. But emotions are not who you are. They are experiences moving through you. Monks never say, "I am angry." Instead, they say, "Anger is present." This subtle shift creates a gap between the emotion and the self, making it easier to observe without being consumed by it. To apply this in your own life, begin practicing emotional labeling without identification. The next time you feel a strong emotion, instead of saying, "I am stressed," say, "Stress is present in me." Instead of, "I am frustrated," say, "Frustration is arising." This simple shift instantly reduces the emotional charge, giving you more control over how to respond. Once you have labeled the emotion without identifying with it, the next step is to ask, "What is this emotion trying to tell me?" Emotions are messengers. They do not appear randomly. They arise to signal something important. Anger often signals a perceived injustice. Anxiety signals uncertainty. Sadness signals a need for healing or reflection. By understanding the message behind your emotions, you can stop resisting them and instead use them as guides for growth. Step 2. Channeling emotional energy into constructive action. Once you have created distance between yourself and your emotions, the next step is to redirect their energy. Negative emotions contain an incredible amount of raw power. The problem is that most people either let this power consume them or waste it in destructive ways, exploding in anger, falling into despair, or allowing worry to paralyze them. Instead of wasting this energy, you can channel it into something beneficial. Here is a simple method monks use to transmute emotional energy. 1. Pause and acknowledge the energy. When a strong emotion arises, do not suppress it. Recognize that it is energy moving through your system. 2. Breathe deeply and sit with it. Instead of reacting immediately, take deep breaths and observe the sensation of the emotion in your body. 3. Ask, how can I use this energy productively? If you feel anger, could you use that energy to fuel a workout? Channel it into solving a problem or speak with clarity rather than aggression. If you feel sadness, could you use it to deepen your self-awareness, strengthen a relationship, or create something meaningful? 4. Physically redirect the energy. Monks often practice walking meditation, yoga, or martial arts to move emotional energy through the body in a way that transforms it into strength. Instead of letting emotions stay stuck in your mind, engage in movement to transmute them into productive energy. By consistently practicing this process, emotions that once felt like burdens become tools for personal growth and resilience. Step 3. The power of breathwork in emotional transmutation. Breath is one of the most powerful tools for transforming emotional energy. When a person is anxious, their breathing becomes shallow and rapid. When they are angry, it becomes forceful and erratic. But here is something most people do not realize. Your breathing patterns do not just reflect your emotions, they also shape them. This means that by consciously changing your breathing, you can alter your emotional state almost instantly. Monks use a technique called conscious breathing to shift emotions in real time. One of the most effective methods is the 4-7-8 breath technique, which helps reset the nervous system. 1. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds. 2. Hold the breath for 7 seconds. 3. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds. Repeat this cycle for a few minutes and you will feel a noticeable shift in your emotional state. This method works because it slows down the heart rate, calms the nervous system, and signals to the brain that there is no immediate danger, allowing emotions to settle naturally. Step 4. Turning emotional pain into wisdom. The final stage of emotional transmutation is using emotional experiences to gain wisdom and resilience. Instead of seeing difficult emotions as enemies, monks see them as teachers. Every emotion carries a lesson. Anger teaches boundaries. Fear teaches courage. Sadness teaches depth and empathy. Instead of resisting emotions, ask, what is this experience teaching me? How can I grow from this? When you start seeing emotions as teachers rather than threats, you shift from being controlled by them to mastering them. This does not mean you will never feel negative emotions again, but it means they will no longer control your life. You will be able to experience them fully without being consumed by them, using them as stepping stones toward greater self-awareness and inner peace. The next phase, mastering stillness in a chaotic world. Now that we have explored the power of emotional transmutation, the next step is learning how to cultivate deep stillness, even in the most chaotic environments. Stillness is not just the absence of noise, it is a state of mind, a level of awareness where external circumstances no longer dictate your inner world. In the next section, we will explore how to cultivate an unshakable presence of mind, no matter what is happening around you. Chapter 9. Mastering Stillness in a Chaotic World, Becoming the Eye of the Storm. In a world that never stops moving, where notifications, deadlines, expectations, and responsibilities pile up endlessly, the idea of stillness seems almost foreign. We are taught to always be doing something, thinking ahead, fixing problems, staying busy. Society glorifies productivity, constant action, and relentless ambition. But what happens when the noise outside becomes too loud? What happens when life's chaos starts pulling you in 100 different directions at once? If you have ever felt mentally exhausted, emotionally drained, or spiritually disconnected, it is not because you lack discipline or resilience. It is because you have not yet been taught how to cultivate inner stillness, a state of deep, unshakable peace that exists independent of the chaos around you. Monks have long understood that true strength does not come from controlling external circumstances, but from mastering the inner world. No matter how turbulent life becomes, they remain grounded, their minds untouched by the storms around them. They have learned the art of becoming the eye of the storm, where everything outside may be in motion, but within, there is absolute stillness. This is not a mystical ability reserved for monks. It is a skill that anyone can develop with the right approach. Inner stillness is not the absence of thought or emotion. It is not passivity or detachment from life. Rather, it is the ability to remain completely present and composed, no matter what is happening around you. It is the capacity to move through life's challenges with a clear, focused mind, without being overwhelmed by stress, anxiety, or reactivity. Imagine walking through a chaotic environment, a crowded airport, a stressful workplace, a conflict-filled situation, yet feeling an unshakable sense of calm within. This is the power of stillness. Cultivating this state does not mean withdrawing from life or ignoring responsibilities. It means developing a mental and emotional center, so strong that nothing outside of you can shake it. It means learning how to remain deeply rooted in peace, even in the middle of life's storms. And the best part? Stillness is not something you have to find. It is something you already have within you. It is simply buried under layers of distraction, overthinking, and unnecessary tension. The key is learning how to uncover it. Step 1. Understanding the nature of stillness. Stillness is often misunderstood. Many believe that to be still means to sit in silence, free of thoughts or movement. But stillness is not an external act. It is an internal state. You do not need to escape to a monastery or sit in meditation for hours to experience deep stillness. You can find it in the middle of your daily life, even in the busiest moments. The first step is shifting your understanding of what stillness truly is. Stillness is the absence of resistance. Most of the stress, tension, and mental exhaustion people experience comes from constantly fighting against reality, wishing things were different, fearing the future, overanalyzing the past. The mind is always in motion, always chasing or avoiding something. But when you stop resisting, when you accept what is happening in the present moment without attachment or judgment, stillness naturally arises. Monks practice this by fully surrendering to the now. Instead of letting their minds wander to what might happen next or what went wrong yesterday, they anchor themselves completely in the present moment. This does not mean they become passive or indifferent to life. It means they stop wasting energy fighting things they cannot change. When you embrace the present moment fully, without wishing it were different, you enter a state of deep stillness. Step 2. Developing a grounding practice. Stillness is a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained. The best way to cultivate it is by developing a grounding practice, a daily habit that anchors your mind in the present and strengthens your ability to remain centered. One of the most effective grounding techniques monks use is body awareness. The body is always in the present moment, but the mind often is not. By shifting attention from the racing thoughts in your head to the physical sensations in your body, you instantly bring yourself back to the here and now. To practice this, take a deep breath and direct your awareness to your hands. Feel the subtle warmth, the tingling sensation of energy within them. Then shift your focus to your feet, noticing the connection between your body and the ground beneath you. As you do this, observe how your thoughts naturally slow down, how your mind becomes more still. Grounding techniques like this can be done anytime, while walking, waiting in line, or even during stressful conversations. The more you practice, the more easily you will be able to return to a state of stillness whenever you need it. Step 3. Using the breath as an anchor. Breath is one of the most powerful tools for accessing inner stillness. The mind may be chaotic, but the breath is always steady, always present. This is why monks use breath awareness as a primary technique for cultivating calmness. A simple but highly effective breathing method is the stillness breath technique. 1. Inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds, feeling the air expand in your chest. 2. Hold the breath for 4 seconds, allowing complete stillness to settle in. 3. Exhale slowly for 6 seconds, releasing any tension or mental noise. Pause for another 4 seconds before inhaling again, resting in the space of stillness. Repeating this cycle for just a few minutes creates a profound sense of inner quiet, resetting the nervous system and clearing the mental clutter that disrupts peace. The breath becomes an anchor, bringing you back to the present moment whenever the mind starts to drift into stress or overthinking. Step 4. Detaching from external noise. One of the biggest obstacles to stillness is overstimulation. The modern world is designed to pull attention outward. Constant notifications, endless scrolling, non-stop information. When the mind is constantly bombarded with input, it never has a chance to settle. To cultivate deeper stillness, it is essential to create intentional moments of silence. This does not mean isolating yourself completely, but rather making space for quiet reflection in daily life. Even small habits, such as turning off notifications for an hour, taking a walk without your phone, or sitting in silence for 5 minutes before starting your day, can have a profound effect on your ability to remain centered. Stillness is not something you need to add to your life. It is something you uncover by removing unnecessary distractions. The less noise you allow into your mind, the more naturally stillness emerges. Step 5. Living from a place of inner peace. Once you have cultivated stillness, the final step is learning to carry it with you throughout daily life. The goal is not to escape challenges, but to remain calm and present within them. This means applying stillness in real-world situations, pausing before reacting in a stressful conversation, taking deep breaths when faced with uncertainty, observing thoughts instead of being consumed by them. Over time, this practice transforms the way you experience life. Instead of being tossed around by external circumstances, you become the eye of the storm, the unshaken presence in the middle of chaos. You move through the world with a quiet confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, your peace remains intact. The next phase, the art of mental clarity. Now that we have explored the power of stillness, the next step is mastering mental clarity. True peace is not just about remaining calm. It is about seeing life with absolute clarity, free from distortion, confusion, and mental fog. In the next section, we will dive into the practice of training the mind for razor-sharp focus and deep insight. Stay with me. The journey to profound mastery is just getting started. Chapter 10. The Art of Mental Clarity. Training your mind to cut through the noise. In a world overflowing with distractions, opinions, and conflicting information, clarity of mind is one of the rarest and most valuable skills. Most people do not suffer from a lack of intelligence or ability. They suffer from mental clutter. Their minds are filled with too many thoughts, too many worries, and too much noise, making it nearly impossible to focus, make decisions, or see things as they truly are. If you have ever felt overwhelmed by overthinking, struggled to concentrate on important tasks, or found yourself doubting your own judgment because of external influence, you are not alone. This is a modern epidemic, a fog of distraction that clouds the mind and steals inner peace. Monks, however, operate differently. They have trained their minds to function with sharp, undisturbed clarity. They do not waste energy on unnecessary thoughts, nor do they allow external noise to dictate their inner world. Their minds are like still water. undisturbed, reflective, and capable of seeing reality with precision. This is not because they were born with superhuman discipline or intelligence, but because they have mastered the art of mental clarity. And the good news? This skill can be trained. Just like a cluttered room can be cleaned and organized, so too can the mind be cleared of distractions, leaving behind only sharp awareness and focused thought. Mental clarity is not about having a completely empty mind. It is about training the mind to focus only on what truly matters while letting go of unnecessary noise. It is about developing the ability to see through illusions, make better decisions, and remain mentally strong even in the face of uncertainty. In this section, we will explore how to cultivate mental clarity in a world designed to keep your mind distracted. Step 1. Understanding the 3 layers of mental clutter. The first step to clearing the mind is recognizing what is causing the mental fog in the first place. Most people think that their lack of clarity comes from external circumstances, stressful work, difficult relationships, or an overwhelming to-do list. But in reality, mental clutter comes from within. It is created by 3 key factors: mental overactivity, emotional interference, and external influence. Mental overactivity. This is the constant, uncontrolled stream of thoughts that runs through your mind. The average person has over 60,000 thoughts per day, and most of them are repetitive, unnecessary, or completely unproductive. This mental noise creates confusion, anxiety, and fatigue. Emotional interference. Emotions are powerful, but when left unchecked, they can distort perception. Fear can make things seem worse than they are. Anger can cloud judgment. Desire can lead to impulsive decisions. Without emotional awareness, the mind becomes a battlefield of conflicting feelings, making clear thinking impossible. External influence. The modern world is designed to steal your attention. Social media, news, advertisements, and even well-meaning friends and family bombard you with opinions, information, and expectations. Over time, this external noise drowns out your own inner voice, making it difficult to trust your instincts and think independently. To achieve mental clarity, these 3 layers of clutter must be removed or managed effectively. Only then can the mind function with the precision and focus that monks cultivate. Step 2. Decluttering the mind through thought awareness. One of the most powerful techniques for mental clarity is thought awareness. Most people are unaware of the thoughts running through their minds. They operate on autopilot, reacting to thoughts rather than consciously choosing which ones to entertain. But monks practice a different approach. They observe their thoughts like an outside observer, choosing which ones to engage with and which to let go. A simple but powerful exercise for training thought awareness is the mental sky technique. Imagine that your thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. Some clouds are dark and stormy, representing negative or anxious thoughts. Others are light and peaceful. Instead of getting caught up in every thought that arises, simply observe them without judgment. Watch them pass by without attaching to them. This practice, when done consistently, helps break the habit of over-identification with thoughts, allowing the mind to become clearer and more focused. Additionally, keeping a thought journal can be incredibly effective. Throughout the day, take brief notes on recurring thoughts, especially ones that cause stress or distraction. At the end of the day, review them. This simple habit helps reveal patterns in your thinking and allows you to consciously choose which thoughts deserve your attention and which should be discarded. Step 3. Sharpening focus through single tasking. One of the biggest enemies of mental clarity is multitasking. The human brain is not designed to focus on multiple things at once. Every time you switch between tasks, your mind loses efficiency, creating mental fog and fatigue. Monks, however, practice single tasking, giving their full attention to one thing at a time. This practice enhances focus, reduces stress, and improves mental efficiency. To implement single tasking in daily life, Start by choosing one activity each day to do with complete focus. It could be eating a meal without distractions, working on an important task without checking your phone, or even having a conversation without letting your mind wander. The more you practice single tasking, the stronger your ability to concentrate becomes, leading to greater mental clarity. Another powerful technique is the focus anchor. Choose a word or phrase, such as now or fully present, and repeat it silently whenever your mind starts to drift. This simple habit helps redirect attention back to the present moment, strengthening mental discipline. Step 4. Creating mental space through silence and reflection. The mind, like a garden, needs space to grow. If it is constantly filled with noise and distractions, there is no room for clarity, insight, or creativity. This is why monks deliberately create periods of silence throughout their day. Even just 5 to 10 minutes of intentional silence can have a profound impact on mental clarity. One simple practice is the silent morning technique. Upon waking up, resist the urge to check your phone, watch the news, or engage in conversation immediately. Instead, spend the first few minutes of your day in complete silence, breathing deeply, stretching, or simply observing your thoughts without engaging with them. This habit sets the tone for a clear and focused mind throughout the day. Another practice is walking meditation, where you take a slow, mindful walk without any distractions. Focus on the rhythm of your steps, the feeling of the ground beneath your feet, and the sensations around you. This practice helps reset the mind, allowing for greater clarity and awareness. Step 5. Filtering external noise and strengthening inner wisdom. In the digital age, where information is abundant but true wisdom is rare, one of the most important skills is learning how to filter external noise. Not all information is useful. Not all opinions are valuable. To cultivate mental clarity, it is essential to become highly selective about what you allow into your mind. A powerful habit to develop is the mental diet approach. Just as you are mindful of what you eat, be mindful of what you consume mentally. Reduce unnecessary exposure to negative news, avoid mindless social media scrolling, and limit time spent with people who drain your energy with negativity or drama. Instead, seek out high-quality information, meaningful conversations, and time spent in reflection. By practicing these 5 steps consistently, you will begin to experience a profound transformation. Your mind will become sharper, your decisions will become clearer, and your sense of inner peace will deepen. Mental clarity is not a luxury. It is a necessity for a fulfilling, focused, and balanced life. Chapter 11. The Foundation of True Confidence. Why Most People Get It Wrong. Confidence is one of the most misunderstood qualities in the modern world. People chase it relentlessly, thinking it's something that can be achieved through external validation, social approval, or a collection of achievements. Society teaches us that confidence comes from success, from proving ourselves, from being admired and respected. But what happens when that external validation disappears? What happens when things don't go according to plan? If confidence is built on achievements, status, or the opinions of others, it is fragile. The moment those external factors are removed, insecurity creeps back in, and suddenly, the illusion of confidence collapses like a house of cards. This is why so many people struggle with self-doubt, despite appearing successful on the outside. Deep down, they feel like imposters, constantly worried that one mistake, one failure, or one moment of rejection will expose them. They chase confidence in the wrong way, through external means, rather than developing it from within. Monks, on the other hand, operate with an entirely different kind of confidence. It is unshakable, independent, and deeply rooted. It does not rely on external approval, nor is it fragile in the face of setbacks. This is because their confidence is built on something far more powerful than social validation. It is built on inner alignment, self-trust, and a deep understanding of one's own nature. True confidence is not about arrogance or superiority. It is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about knowing yourself so deeply that nothing external can shake your sense of self-worth. It is about moving through life with a quiet, unshakable certainty, not because you think you are better than others, but because you no longer depend on others to determine your worth. So how do you cultivate this kind of deep, unbreakable confidence? The answer lies in a set of fundamental principles that monks have practiced for centuries. These principles do not rely on external achievements, nor do they require you to change who you are. Instead, they help you uncover the confidence that already exists within you, waiting to be awakened. Step 1. Releasing the need for external validation. One of the biggest confidence killers is the need for approval from others. Most people spend their lives trying to meet societal expectations, fearing rejection, and constantly seeking reassurance that they are good enough. But the truth is, no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to control how others see you. Opinions change, people project their own insecurities, and no amount of external approval will ever bring lasting confidence. Monks are immune to this trap because they have trained themselves to detach from external validation. They understand a simple but profound truth. People's opinions of you are a reflection of them, not you. If someone admires you, it's because they see qualities in you that they value. If someone dislikes you, it's because you challenge something within them. Either way, it has nothing to do with your true worth. To cultivate this level of self-assurance, start by practicing self-approval. Every time you catch yourself seeking external validation, whether it's through social media, compliments, or recognition, pause and ask yourself, do I truly believe I am worthy even without this validation? The more you practice self-approval, the less you will depend on others to feel good about yourself. A powerful exercise for this is the mirror test. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes and say, I approve of myself. I am enough. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might even feel resistance, but over time, this practice rewires your mind to seek validation from within rather than from external sources. Step 2. Developing an unshakable self-image. Confidence is not about pretending to be something you are not. It is about fully accepting who you are. Many people struggle with self-doubt because they have a distorted self-image. They focus too much on their perceived flaws, compare themselves to others, and constantly feel not enough. Monks cultivate confidence by developing a clear and positive self-image. They do not compare themselves to others, nor do they seek to be someone they are not. Instead, they focus on becoming the best version of themselves. One way to strengthen your self-image is to practice identity affirmations. Every morning, repeat statements that reinforce the kind of person you want to become. For example, I am strong, calm, and capable. I trust myself completely. I am enough exactly as I am. These affirmations help shape the way you see yourself, and over time, they become a deep, unshakable belief. Step 3. Building confidence through action. Confidence is not something you think your way into. It is something you build through action. Monks develop their self-assurance by repeatedly stepping outside their comfort zones, embracing challenges, and proving to themselves that they are capable. A simple but powerful rule to follow is the courage over comfort principle. Every day, do something that makes you slightly uncomfortable. It does not have to be extreme. Start small. Speak up in a meeting. Strike up a conversation with a stranger or try something new. Each time you face discomfort, you build inner strength, and over time, this turns into unshakable confidence. A helpful exercise is the fear exposure method. Make a list of things that intimidate you and gradually expose yourself to them. If public speaking scares you, start by speaking in front of a mirror. If rejection worries you, Challenge yourself to ask for something small, like a discount at a store, just to experience rejection in a controlled way. Step 4. Cultivating inner certainty through stillness. One of the greatest secrets to deep, lasting confidence is inner stillness. Monks cultivate confidence not by chasing validation or achievements, but by developing an unshakable connection to their own inner world. They spend time in silence, reflecting deeply, and learning to trust their own wisdom. To integrate this into your life, practice the stillness ritual. Every day, spend a few moments in complete silence. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and simply sit with yourself. In that stillness, you will begin to hear your own inner voice, the part of you that already knows you are enough. True confidence is not something you put on like a mask. It is a way of being. It is about knowing that no matter what happens, you are worthy, strong, and capable. It is about walking through life with quiet certainty, unshaken by external circumstances. By practicing these principles, releasing the need for validation, developing a strong self-image, building confidence through action, and cultivating inner stillness, you will begin to experience a profound shift. You will no longer feel the need to prove yourself, nor will you be easily shaken by challenges. Instead, you will move through life with a quiet, unbreakable confidence, just like a monk. Chapter 12. Eliminating self-doubt and becoming your own source of strength. Self-doubt is like an invisible force that holds people back from their true potential. It whispers in the background, questioning your abilities, making you hesitate, and convincing you that you are not ready, not good enough, or not capable. For many, self-doubt becomes a lifelong companion, limiting their confidence and keeping them from stepping into their full power. But monks have a radically different approach. They do not allow self-doubt to control them because they understand that doubt is not truth. It is merely a conditioned habit of the mind. They see doubt for what it really is, a collection of thoughts shaped by past experiences and societal conditioning that have no actual power unless you choose to believe them. The reason self-doubt feels so powerful is that most people have never questioned it. They assume that if a thought arises, such as, "I am not good enough," or "I don't have what it takes," then it must be true. But monks train themselves to see doubt differently. They recognize that just because a thought appears does not mean it deserves their belief. Instead of fighting doubt, they observe it with detachment, realizing that it is simply the mind's attempt to stay in its comfort zone. If you want to build unshakable confidence, you must learn to master your relationship with doubt. The goal is not to eliminate doubt completely, because doubt is a natural part of the mind, but rather to stop identifying with it. When doubt arises, you must learn to see it, understand it, and then choose not to let it control you. Step 1. Recognizing the nature of doubt. It is not you. The first step to overcoming self-doubt is understanding that it is not you. Doubt is merely a conditioned response, shaped by past failures, societal expectations, and fear of judgment. It is a pattern of thinking, not an absolute truth. Imagine a child who is naturally curious and adventurous. That child believes they can do anything. They try new things, they explore, and they take risks without hesitation. But over time, they hear voices telling them to be careful, to not aim too high, to play it safe. Perhaps they fail a few times, and people around them reinforce the idea that failure means they are not capable. Slowly, a belief begins to form. Maybe I am not as good as I thought. Maybe I should doubt myself. But here's the truth. That original, confident version of you still exists. Doubt is simply a layer that has been placed on top of it. You were not born doubting yourself. It is something you learned. And anything that has been learned can also be unlearned. To break free from self-doubt, start paying attention to your internal dialogue. When you hear a doubtful thought, pause and ask yourself, who told me this? Where did this belief come from? Is it actually true? Or is it just something I have carried from the past? The more you question doubt, the less power it will have over you. Step 2. Separating yourself from your thoughts. Monks practice a powerful technique known as detached observation. This means they do not get caught up in their thoughts. They simply observe them without emotional attachment. When a doubt arises, instead of believing it, they say to themselves, here is doubt again. Interesting, but I do not have to engage with it. Try this for yourself. The next time you experience self-doubt, do not fight it, do not suppress it, and do not try to force it away. Instead, step back and observe it like a scientist studying a phenomenon. Notice the thought. Acknowledge that it is there, but remind yourself, I do not have to believe everything I think. A simple but effective phrase you can use is, this is just a thought, not reality. Every time doubt appears, repeat this to yourself. Over time, this practice weakens doubt's grip on you and strengthens your ability to remain calm and confident in the face of uncertainty. Step 3. Building a new mental script, reprogramming self-belief. Doubt thrives in an environment of uncertainty and hesitation, but confidence grows when you intentionally create a new mental script. This means replacing the old, doubtful thoughts with new, empowering ones. One of the most effective ways to do this is through affirmations and mental conditioning. Every time doubt arises, consciously replace it with a statement of certainty. For example, instead of, I don't think I can do this, say, I am capable and I will figure it out. Instead of, what if I fail? Say, every failure is a lesson that brings me closer to success. Instead of, I am not ready, say, I am always growing and I will learn as I go. Repetition is key. The mind believes what it hears most often, so make sure you are feeding it thoughts that build confidence rather than destroy it. A powerful exercise is to write down 5 empowering beliefs about yourself and read them every morning. Over time, this rewires your subconscious mind to default to confidence rather than doubt. Step 4. Strengthening your confidence through action. Nothing destroys doubt faster than action. Many people wait until they feel confident before taking action. But the truth is, confidence is built through action, not the other way around. You do not become confident by thinking about it. You become confident by proving to yourself that you are capable. Start small. If you doubt your ability to speak up, practice saying one sentence in a group setting. If you doubt your ability to learn something new, commit to studying for just 10 minutes a day. Each small action creates momentum, and over time, those small wins build into unshakable confidence. A useful technique is called the 5-second rule, developed by Mel Robbins. Whenever doubt tries to hold you back, count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take action before your mind has time to stop you. This interrupts the habit of hesitation and builds the muscle of decisive action. Step 5. Creating an inner refuge of strength. Monks cultivate confidence by developing a deep inner refuge, a place within themselves where they feel strong, secure, and unshakable. They do this through meditation, self-reflection, and a strong sense of self-awareness. To create your own inner refuge, practice silent stillness. Every day, spend a few minutes in complete silence, focusing on your breath and reconnecting with your inner self. Imagine a place inside you that is untouched by fear, doubt, or external pressure. This is your inner sanctuary. The more you visit it, the stronger it becomes. When you cultivate this internal strength, you will no longer seek confidence from external sources. You will carry it within you, wherever you go. Self-doubt is not a sign that you are weak. It is simply a habit of the mind. And just like any habit, it can be changed. By learning to separate yourself from your thoughts, replacing doubt with self-belief, taking action, and cultivating inner strength, you can free yourself from the grip of self-doubt and step into a life of unshakable confidence. This journey is not about becoming someone different. It is about returning to the powerful, confident person you were always meant to be. Chapter 13. Understanding the nature of emotions. Why most people lose control. Emotions are among the most powerful forces in human experience. They shape our decisions, influence our relationships, and determine the quality of our lives. But for many, emotions feel like an uncontrollable storm. One moment calm and peaceful, the next moment overwhelmed by anger, anxiety, or frustration. Some people spend their lives at the mercy of their emotions, reacting impulsively and regretting their actions later. Others suppress their emotions, bottling them up until they eventually explode. Both of these approaches, overreacting and suppressing, lead to suffering. Monks, however, take a radically different approach. They do not suppress their emotions, nor do they let emotions dictate their behavior. Instead, they develop a profound understanding of emotions, allowing them to experience feelings fully without becoming controlled by them. They have trained their minds to observe emotions rather than be consumed by them. This is why monks can remain calm in situations that would drive most people to anger or panic. To master emotional control, you must first understand a fundamental truth. You are not your emotions. Emotions are temporary waves that pass through you. They are not who you are. The mistake most people make is identifying with their emotions. When they feel anger, they say, "I am angry." When they feel sadness, they say, "I am sad." But monks shift their language to something more accurate. "I am experiencing anger." This subtle change creates distance between the emotion and the self. If you can observe an emotion rather than become the emotion, you gain power over it. This is the foundation of emotional mastery. Not suppressing emotions, but learning to witness them without attachment. Step 1. Developing emotional awareness, the key to breaking free from reactivity. The first step to emotional mastery is awareness. You cannot control something if you are unaware of it. Most people experience emotions without truly understanding them. They react impulsively, not realizing what is happening within their minds. But monks develop an extraordinary level of self-awareness, allowing them to recognize emotions the moment they arise. To build emotional awareness, start by practicing mindful observation of your emotions. Throughout the day, whenever you feel an emotion, pause and notice it. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Where do I feel this emotion in my body? What thoughts triggered this emotion? Is this emotion helping or harming me? By simply observing your emotions without judgment, you begin to detach from them. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," you start saying, "I notice that anxiety is present." This shift in perspective gives you control. A powerful practice for this is called emotional labeling. Each time you experience a strong emotion, name it out loud. For example, say, "This is frustration," or "This is excitement." Studies show that labeling emotions reduces their intensity and helps regulate them more effectively. Step 2. The art of non-reactivity, how to stay calm. No matter what happens. One of the greatest secrets of monks is their ability to remain calm in any situation. This is not because they do not feel emotions, but because they have trained themselves not to react impulsively. Instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, they practice pausing and responding mindfully. A simple but powerful technique to develop non-reactivity is called the sacred pause. Whenever you feel an intense emotion rising, instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath and count to 5. This short pause creates space between the emotion and your response. It gives you time to choose your reaction instead of being controlled by it. Imagine someone says something insulting to you. Your instinct might be to snap back, defend yourself, or feel hurt. But if you practice the sacred pause, you allow yourself a few seconds to step back and observe the situation. In those few seconds, you can ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will reacting help or make things worse? What is the wisest way to respond? More often than not, you will realize that reacting emotionally is unnecessary. The power of emotional control comes from choosing response over reaction. Step 3. Letting go of emotional attachment, the secret to inner peace. Most emotional suffering comes from attachment. People hold on to anger, grudges, expectations, and past hurts, allowing these emotions to dictate their happiness. But monks understand that clinging to emotions only prolongs suffering. Instead of holding on, they practice letting go. One of the most powerful teachings of Buddhism is the concept of impermanence. Everything in life, including emotions, is temporary. No feeling lasts forever. Anger, sadness, joy, excitement, they all pass. By deeply understanding this, you stop clinging to emotions because you realize they will come and go like waves. To practice emotional letting go, try the cloud meditation. Whenever a strong emotion arises, close your eyes and imagine it as a cloud passing through the sky. Watch it without trying to hold on to it or push it away. Remind yourself, this emotion is temporary. It will pass. The more you practice this, the less control emotions will have over you. Step 4. Transforming negative emotions into strength. Monks do not see emotions as good or bad. Instead, they see all emotions as energy that can either be destructive or constructive. They have learned the art of transforming negative emotions into positive growth. For example, instead of allowing anger to consume them, they use it as motivation to create positive change. Instead of being paralyzed by fear, they use it as fuel to take courageous action. To transform negative emotions, practice emotion reframing. Whenever you feel a difficult emotion, ask yourself, how can I use this emotion to grow? What is this emotion trying to teach me? How can I channel this energy into something productive? For instance, if you feel anxiety about a big challenge, instead of letting it paralyze you, use that energy to prepare thoroughly. If you feel frustration, channel it into finding solutions rather than dwelling on the problem. By shifting your perspective, you turn emotions from obstacles into stepping stones. Step 5. Cultivating inner stillness, the ultimate emotional mastery tool. The final step to mastering emotional control is developing inner stillness. Monks spend hours in meditation, not to escape emotions, but to cultivate a deep, unwavering sense of inner peace that remains unaffected by external circumstances. Inner stillness is developed through daily meditation and breath work. One of the simplest but most powerful practices is deep abdominal breathing. Whenever you feel emotionally overwhelmed, pause and take 10 deep breaths, focusing on expanding your abdomen. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, calming your emotions instantly. Another powerful technique is silent sitting. Spend at least 5 minutes a day sitting in complete silence, simply observing your breath. The more you cultivate inner stillness, the more emotionally resilient you become. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unaffected by life. It is about learning to navigate emotions skillfully, with awareness and wisdom. It is about responding rather than reacting, letting go rather than clinging, and transforming emotions into fuel for personal growth. When you develop this level of control, nothing can shake your peace. You no longer feel controlled by anger, fear, or frustration. Instead, you become a person who moves through life with calm, clarity, and power, just like a monk. Chapter 14. The Ultimate Test: Applying Monk-like Calm in Everyday Life. You have now walked the path of mastering your emotions, cultivating mindfulness, and developing inner stillness. But knowing these principles is not enough. The true test lies in your ability to apply them in real life, in the middle of the chaos, when people are yelling, deadlines are approaching, and everything seems to be falling apart. It is easy to stay calm in moments of solitude, but can you remain peaceful in the face of conflict? Can you hold on to stillness when the world around you is turbulent? The key to lasting peace is not to escape the chaos, but to thrive within it. Monks do not live in a different universe. They face the same struggles, pain, and challenges as everyone else. The difference is how they respond. They have trained their minds to remain still in the storm, just like the deep ocean remains calm even when waves crash above it. So, how do you apply monk-like calm in the real world? You must build daily habits that reinforce your peace. Train your mind to stay centered under pressure and develop the ability to reset yourself when life gets overwhelming. This is not about perfection. It is about consistency. Just as a monk does not meditate once and achieve enlightenment, you will not find peace by practicing mindfulness for a day. But if you commit to these principles daily over time, they will become second nature. Step 1. Cultivating a daily ritual of stillness, your anchor in the storm. In a world that constantly demands your attention, where notifications, responsibilities, and expectations pull you in 1,000 directions, you need an anchor, a ritual of stillness that grounds you, no matter what happens. Monks begin and end their day with moments of deep silence, not as an escape from reality, but as a way to prepare their minds for the challenges ahead. Your ritual of stillness does not need to be complex. It can be as simple as sitting in silence for 5 minutes every morning, taking deep breaths before starting your work, or journaling your thoughts at night. The goal is to create a sacred space for yourself, a moment where the noise of the world fades and you reconnect with your inner peace. One powerful practice is the morning reset, a simple but transformative way to start your day with clarity. Before checking your phone, before diving into your to-do list, take 10 deep breaths, set an intention for the day, and remind yourself, no matter what happens today, I will remain calm, present, and in control. This small habit can change the entire course of your day. Step 2. Responding. Instead of reacting, mastering the art of composure. Life will test you. People will challenge you. Unexpected events will throw you off balance. The question is not if you will face difficulties, but how you will respond to them. Most people react impulsively. When someone is rude, they snap back. When things go wrong, they panic. But monks practice the pause. They create space between the event and their reaction. The next time you find yourself in a stressful situation, practice the 3-second rule. 1. Pause and take a deep breath. 2. Ask yourself, what is the wisest response here? 3. Choose your reaction with intention. By simply inserting a moment of awareness between an event and your response, you reclaim control over your emotions. You become proactive rather than reactive, moving through life with purpose rather than being pulled by impulses. Step 3. Letting go of what you cannot control. The secret to lasting peace. One of the greatest sources of stress is trying to control things that are beyond your power. People spend endless energy worrying about the future, obsessing over how others perceive them, or resisting the reality of a situation they cannot change. But monks understand a fundamental truth. Peace comes from surrendering to what is. This does not mean giving up. It means recognizing what is within your control and what is not. You cannot control how people behave, but you can control how you respond. You cannot prevent difficulties from arising, but you can control how you handle them. You cannot change the past, but you can choose how you move forward. To practice this, whenever you feel frustrated, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, what action can I take? If no, how can I let go and accept it? By shifting your focus to what you can control and releasing what you cannot, You free yourself from unnecessary stress and step into a state of calm acceptance. Step 4. Creating a life aligned with your values, the path to true fulfillment. Many people chase happiness in external achievements, thinking that success, money, or validation will bring them peace. But true fulfillment comes from living a life that aligns with your deepest values. Monks live with intention. They simplify their lives, focus on what truly matters, and let go of distractions that do not serve them. To create a life aligned with your values, take a moment to reflect. What are the 3 most important things in your life? Are your daily actions aligned with these priorities? What distractions or obligations can you remove? By simplifying your life and focusing on what truly matters, you create space for peace and fulfillment. Step 5. Sharing your peace with others, becoming a source of calm in the world. The final step in your journey is not just about finding peace for yourself. It is about sharing that peace with others. When you cultivate inner calm, you become a source of stability in a chaotic world. Your presence influences those around you. When you remain calm under pressure, others feel calmer too. When you respond to conflict with wisdom, you inspire others to do the same. A simple way to spread peace is through the ripple effect. 1. Practice deep listening. When someone speaks to you, give them your full attention without interrupting or judging. 2. Respond with kindness. Even when others are rude or impatient, choose kindness as your response. 3. Lead by example. Be the calm presence in the room, the person who brings clarity and wisdom instead of stress. By becoming a source of peace, you uplift everyone around you. The path of a monk is not about living in isolation. It is about walking through life with a steady mind and an open heart, no matter how chaotic the world may be. It is about mastering your emotions, living with intention, and responding to life with wisdom rather than impulse. You now have the tools to remain calm like a monk, even in total chaos. You have learned how to observe emotions rather than be controlled by them, how to cultivate stillness in your daily life, and how to let go of what you cannot control. The journey does not end here. Peace is a practice, something you cultivate every single day. But with each moment of awareness, with each pause before reacting, with each choice to stay calm rather than be swept away, you are reinforcing your inner strength. You have everything you need to remain unshakable. The question is, will you practice it? The choice is yours. Your path to peace starts now. Go forward with clarity and strength. Thank you for walking this journey. The principles you have learned are not just ideas. They are tools you can use for the rest of your life. Carry this wisdom with you, apply it daily, and share your peace with the world. Now take a deep breath. You are ready. Go forward, stay calm, and live with unshakable peace. The monk's path is now yours.